Here we start off with a whole bunch of information about this f function. They give us a couple of points off the f graph. They give us some derivatives off the f graph. However, when we keep reading through the problem, all of a sudden they're talking about this g equation, and the question is actually asking us for the derivative of g with 2 plugged into it. So that means we need to look at what this g function is. So g of x is equal to f to the negative 1 of x. That is the inverse function, the inverse of f. So that negative 1 exponent, that represents the inverse of a problem. So if we need to find g prime of x, what that's telling us is we really need to find the derivative of our inverse function. At this point in the process, you are either super psyched because you know the derivative of the inverse like the back of your hand, and it'll take you about 2 more seconds to finish this problem out, or you're kicking yourself for not having that one memorized. There's a handful of what I just call special case derivatives. They're derivatives that you just have to have memorized, and if you do, these problems are quick and easy. If you don't, you're going to be kicking yourself because you're not going to just come to it magically in the middle of the test. So this is one of them. This is if I have an inverse function, the derivative of my inverse always works out to be 1 over the derivative of my original function with the inverse plugged into it. There are some teachers out there that try to teach their students to just derive this thing in the middle of the exam. In the middle of an AP Calc test, you don't have the time or the energy to be deriving an inverse trig derivative, or not an inverse trig, but an inverse function derivative. And so you just want to have this thing memorized. Just add it to the list of all the other ones that you have to know, and it'll be 2 seconds to get this answer if you have it ready for you. So what we now know is our derivative is going to just follow this equation here. So this would be 1 over the derivative of f with the inverse of f plugged into it. Then they specifically ask us to go find g prime of 2. So now we go to our derivative equation and we just plug in 2 everywhere we see an x. Then you work it inside out is what I say. You're going to start with this inside piece here, and we need to go figure out what does f to the negative 1 of 2 equal. What's the inverse value at 2? When you're plugging into an inverse, remember it's the opposite of a normal equation. What you're plugging in is the y value now, and what you want out, what your answer is always going to be the x value that goes with it. Well, that's where the 2 points they gave us come into play. We're looking for which of our 2 points, if I plug in y is 2, I'm going to get out an answer. So be careful because now you're looking for where the y value is 2 and what the answer is that goes with that. So we know that f of 5 is equal to 2, so that when y is 2, the x value out of there is 5. So our inverse value at 2 is an x value of 5. And now you would just take and plug that into your equation here. So you would have 1 over your derivative, and now you know what this value is. The inverse at 2 is what we just got out. That's 5. Then from here, we need to go figure out what is f prime of 5 equal. So f prime of 5, again, go back to the information they gave us. They gave us info about derivatives, and they told us here that f prime of 5 is negative 3. And so now you're just going to plug in for f prime of 5 what it's equal to. It's equal to negative 3. And so this is 1 over negative 3. So that would end up being your final answer right there, which would be this one here. Remember, you got to memorize these special cases. If you do, some of these problems are really just testing if you know that info. And if you know it, it'll take you 2 seconds to get it right. And if you don't, you'll be kicking yourself for missing something that was pretty straightforward. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.